This conference will now be recorded. Will now be
Good morning, everyone. So we'll start the class. Okay, so am I audible? Can everyone able to hear me? Hmm?
Yes,
Yes.
sir, we
No.
can hear.
Able to hear. Okay, fine. Good. That's right. Okay, fine. So we'll start. So yesterday we were discussing about and we were seeing all these go downs, units of measure. Okay, the stock items, stock categories, the stock groups. Okay, and also we had created all the different stock items along with their HSN number, okay, and the different GST tax rates for each and every stock item. And also we saw how to create a particular stock by giving its opening balance, opening stock, okay, and various other stock items. Right? So these were the things that we discussed in the last class. Now, what we will do is now we will start passing the transactions. Okay. Now to pass transactions, okay, we have uh, 4 different types of vouchers that we work on. Okay. They are purchase, purchase returns, sales returns, debit note. Okay. These are the different types of vouchers that we have to work on. Okay. So purchase voucher, debit note voucher, sales voucher, and credit note voucher. These are the different types of vouchers that we work on. Okay, so when you were working in Tally ERP 9, okay, purchase voucher shortcut key was F9. So in this as well, it is F9 itself. For debit note voucher, what do you mean by debit note voucher? What is debit note voucher? I guess you have already worked in your Tally ERP 9.
Purchase return.
That's right. So when you purchase any goods, if you have to return back any goods to the supplier, the time we use the debit note voucher. So purchase voucher in ERP9 it is F9 purchase voucher shortcut key, and for debit note shortcut key was what was the shortcut key for debit note voucher in ERP9?
Alt F9.
Huh? Yes, Alt F9. Purchase voucher was F9. Purchase returns voucher, debit note voucher was Alt F9. Okay. Now, but in this in Tally Prime it is Alt F5. Alt F5 is a shortcut key which is used in Tally Prime as the shortcut key for it. Next, we have the sales voucher F8 and the credit note voucher Alt plus F6. Credit note is the opposite of debit note. That is, debit note is purchase return, credit note is sales return. That is, whatever the goods that you purchase, I will say whatever you sell, and the customer returns back. So all the return back goods will be entered in the credit note voucher. Okay. Now we will see the first one, purchase voucher. What exactly is a purchase voucher? Okay, so purchase voucher, as you know, no, it is used to purchase of goods. Okay, purchase of different kinds of goods or different stocks from the suppliers. Okay, so only purchase of stock items and GST calculation will be recorded in this. And there are 3 different types of purchases that can be recorded. One is a cash, bank, and a credit purchase. So I guess in your ERP9, when you were learning the ERP9 purchase voucher, you did cash purchases and bank purchases. That is, you purchase the goods by cash or you purchase it by bank. Okay, like purchase account data to cash account, purchase account data to HDFC bank account, something like that you used to work on. Okay, and also you used to do the credit purchase. Now, what do you mean by credit purchase? What does this credit purchase means? What does it mean? What does credit purchase means? Anyone? What is credit? What does mean by credit? The word credit. What is it?
The goods purchased without paying cash immediately. On it's like a loan on the basis of loan.
Yes, it can. Yes, you are right. So it can be considered as like a loan itself. Fine, okay. But basically, as you said, yes, credit purchase means you say when you're purchasing the goods. Let's say I go to the shop. Okay, I purchase the items. Okay, I purchase some books, some mobiles. I purchase, but I don't pay the amount. Okay, that time it is set as a credit purchase, but I'll be paying it later. But at that particular point of time, we call it as a credit purchase transaction, where you're not paying the amount on the spot, but you're paying it on the later date. That is your credit purchases. Okay. Now let's come back to this tally screen. Okay. So here in tally, okay, if we have to work on these transactions, okay, as we were discussing when we did the receipt voucher, we go to the heading called as transactions. Under that, we go to the heading called vouchers. Enter. So as usual, F9 is a shortcut key for the purchase voucher. Okay. So previously, when you were doing the purchase voucher transaction and you worked on this purchase transaction, okay, I guess this was not the screen that you were working on. Am I right? Okay, this is a different screen that you're seeing. You're seeing this screen for the first time. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. So while working on the purchase vouchers or any of these four vouchers, purchase, debit note, sales, and credit note voucher, there are basically three types of modes, or in simple, there are three types of screens that we can work on or we can pass a transaction. So this screen, what you see here, is called as item invoice screen, or item invoice mode we call it as. Now, if you see on the right hand side, the shortcut key control plus H, see control H, that is double dash H, change mode. Okay, if you see this shortcut key, if I click on this, see it will show you the three different types of modes. So right now we are in the item invoice mode. Item invoice mode means to say that you have this invoice number, party account name, purchase ledger, name of the item, quantity, rate, and amount. All these things will be present in this item. That is basically you're passing the transaction in a detailed manner. This is item invoice. Now again, I press Control H. Let's go to the third one, second one, accounting invoice. This is a slight change wherein you will have particulars for rate and amount. Okay, supplier number, particulars, rate, and this is the screen that you will have here. Okay, next again I press Control H as voucher. Done. Correct. Okay, so these are the three different types of modes that you have. Okay, so I guess you would have worked on this particular screen, particular debit and credit, where purchasing from the supplier or from anywhere or any goods by cash or by bank or any kind of a credit purchase. Right? Okay, so let's come back to the item invoice mode, the first type of mode which we are discussing. So I press Control H and I come to item invoice. Okay. Why do you use this item invoice means to say, as I said before, it is used to pass your transaction in a detailed manner. That is, in detail, you want to enter what is the name of the item, what is the quantity that you're purchasing, how much quantity you're purchasing, what's the rate of it, you want to display who is a party from whom you're purchasing. All this in detail, you want to enter a transaction. At that point of time, what we do is we use this item invoice mode screen itself. Okay. Now, okay, so this same particular screen or this mode itself, with this same item invoice mode itself, we'll be working on an what is that? Debit note voucher, sales voucher, and credit note voucher. Okay, for all these vouchers, we'll be working on the same voucher screen itself, this item invoice screen itself. Okay, now any doubts in this? Any doubts in the shifting of these modes or shifting of these screens? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay, let's proceed now. Okay, now when you were doing and previously when you were learning this tally thing, okay, you would have discussed or learned about the four different types of bills. Four different types of bills. Does anyone remember what are those four different types of bills that you have? Come on. Four types of bills. When you pay in advance, what is the bill? When you pay
New
on the spot?
reference,
Yes.
advanced reference, credit purchase or credit sales.
Okay.
Another one, I don't know.
Okay. So new reference is correct. Advance bill is correct. Credit purchase, credit sale is a definition for the new reference bill. Okay. So basically the four different types of bills are new reference bill, against reference bill, on account, and advance bill. Okay. Yeah, I'll show the explanation of it. Okay. 1 second. Mm, Okay. So I have the explanation of all the four different types of bills here. Okay. Now, okay, as you said, one of you just said that you say the new reference bill. What is this new reference bill? How do you use it? When do you use it? Mhm. When is new reference bill used? Okay, what about the advance bill? When is the advance bill used? Come on, answer. Anyone?
If cash paid in advance, we will use advance bill.
Okay. What about new reference? That is right. Advance bill definition is right. What about for the new reference? Okay, fine. So there are basically four different types of this. New reference, against reference, advance bill, and on account bill. Okay, so these are the four bills that we will be using, okay, for the different types of transaction. Depending upon the transaction we'll be using. Okay, now if you see the new reference bill is used whenever you're purchasing or selling on a credit basis. Okay, that is, let's say I go to the shop and I purchase some items. Okay, let's say I purchase some mobiles. Okay, but I don't pay the amount immediately. I don't pay it on that particular day. Okay, I just take the items and I come. I don't make any payment. Okay, that is said as a new reference bill. That is when you're purchasing or selling on a credit basis. Okay, that is said as new reference. But against reference bill is used whenever, okay, this new reference bill turns towards payment. That is, okay, as since I purchased, okay, let's say on yesterday I purchased a mobile. Okay, yesterday I purchased a mobile, but I have not paid the amount to that person. Okay, and that person today is sending me the bill. Let's say about 20,000. He's sending the bill to me. So when I receive the bill and I make a payment of rupees 20,000 for that credit transaction, that time we call it as against reference bill. Okay, new reference bill is when you're doing on a credit basis, when you're purchasing without making or without we are purchasing or selling without paying or receiving any amount. That time you say new reference. Against references when you're making a payment for those amount for those credit bills which you are not paid. For that, when you're clearing it, that time we say it as against reference. And advance bill, yes, as you one of you said, it is making a payment before the transaction. Before, let's say today I'm purchasing the mobile. Last week itself, I made a payment for it. Okay, that is advance bill. On account means to say I'm purchasing the mobile and immediately I'm making a payment for it. That is called as on account bill. Okay, so these are the four different types of bills that we have. Okay, so why we are discussing these four different types of bills means to say is that while working on these four different transactions, that is purchase, credit note, debit note, sales, and vouchers. Okay, when you're working on these vouchers at that particular time, we work on these. We will be using these one of these four bills for each of the transactions. So that is why we work on these four different types of bills. Okay, can any doubts you can ask.
No, sir.
No, sir.
So let's proceed now. Okay, so In this, now what we will do is, now in this particular voucher, we will start passing a transaction. We'll see how we pass a transaction, how exactly the GST is included. Okay, so just for a small recap, we have already activated the GST. So we just check. I'm just checking it once. Okay, so all the GST, everything is activated. The GST number is given. Everything is activated. Fantastic. Okay, next we will see if we have created the stock items and we have put the tax rates for it. So I go to this alter, or I can also go to display, but I'll go to alter. Okay, stock item. Okay, and I select a particular stock. Let's say it's a laptop. Okay, yes, and you can see all the tax rate is entered. Now this is fine. Okay, I save it. Now this part is complete. Now the GST is activated and all the tax rates are given for each and every stock item. Now my next step for what I have to now is I have to create the ledgers for my taxes. Okay, for GST we have basically three different types of tax which we discussed: DGST, SGST, and IGST. For that we have to create a ledger. Okay, why we create a ledger? While doing the transaction, you will understand why it is done. Why we had created a ledger. Okay, now let's create ledger. Now let's take the first one. Okay, SGST. Okay, SGST is now state goods and service tax. Okay, so when I select SGST, okay, now after I select SGST, the group that is under, can anyone tell me under which group will I select my SGST? SGST is a part of tax.
Duties and taxes.
Yes, that's right. Duties and taxes. Okay, so the name is SGST, group is duties and tax. Now, next, what type of duty tax it is? Type of duty tax. What type of tax it is?
GST.
GST. Yes, I select GST. Now, next, tax type. Now, again, what tax type it is?
State tax.
State tax.
State tax. Why state tax? Because it is SGST. State goods and service tax. So that is why it is SGST. If it is CGST, it will be a central tax. If it is IGST, it will be as integrated tax. Okay. Since we are doing for SGST, we select here as state tax. Okay. There's no need to put any percentage, nothing. It will be a zero itself. There's nothing to do there, and no other options to be entered here. Just leave it as it is. Okay. Just put the name as SGST. Under will be as duties and taxes. Tax type of duty tax is GST, and tax type is state tax. Okay, and I save it. Now I do the same procedure for the next one, CGST. Duties and tax, GST, and central tax. CGST is central goods and service tax, so it is central tax. That's it. Now IGST, duties and tax, GST, and integrated tax. Okay, so these are the three ledgers, okay, or the tax ledgers that we have to create. GST tax ledgers which has to be created. Okay, let's say before passing a transaction, we just have to create. Fine. Any doubts in these three ledger creations? Anything? Any doubts?
No,
No,
sir.
sir.
Okay, I save this. Now, let's come back. So now the ledger creation part is done. For now, these are the few ledgers which has to be created. So I have created these ledgers. Later, there are other ledgers also which has to be created. That while passing transaction, we will do it. Okay, now the next thing what we'll do is we'll pass a transaction. Let's say we purchase some stocks from this thing. We purchase some stocks. Now, why do you have to purchase stocks? Is that let's say if we go from gateway of tally, if I go to my stock summary. Stock summary is what last class we saw. Okay, that is to check how much of stock we have in our company. Okay, what is the stock that we have? Okay, stock summary. I want to check it in detail. I press Alt F1 or Alt F5 and I press F5. So I have only Camlin notebook, 80 numbers in Jnagar location. Okay, but I don't have any other stocks in my company or in my godown, so any other location. So what we have to do is we have to do the purchases for this. Okay. So to do the purchases, that is, you have to purchase including GST. So to do this purchases, what we do is we go to this gateway of Tally, transaction vouchers, and press F9. Come to this voucher screen. Okay. Now I have a small question. Okay, I have already entered the question here. Okay. Okay. I'll take you to the question. Okay. Now this is my question. Okay. This is the question that I have here. On 1st April 2021, we are purchasing goods from Alpha Traders, Bangalore. Okay. His GST number is so and so 29, PAN number, and all these numbers. Why 29? Because the state code is 29. Because he's from Bangalore, so Bangalore is in Karnataka, so the state code will be as 29 itself. Next, the invoice number or the bill number is nothing but Alpha 123 itself I have given. Next, the goods that I have to purchase, I store it in godown unit 1. In this godown, I am storing it in. And what are the goods or what are the stocks that I'm purchasing? It's only one stock that I'm purchasing. It is LG TV, 5 numbers at rupees 15,000 each. That is, each stock contains 15,000. Next, the payment I'm making it on the next day by cash. That is on 2nd April 21. I'm paying by cash. Okay. So now this is my question. Now this question I have to pass. Okay. You are taking down this question. You can take it down. Now we'll proceed with the transaction. Now let's come to the tally purchase voucher. Now the first thing, whenever we pass a transaction, first thing what we have to do is we have to change the date. Okay, so F2, I change the date. So the transaction I'm doing it on 1st April 2021. So this is my first part of the question. Okay, on 1/4/21, I'm purchasing the goods. Okay, so I enter the date as 1/4/21. Okay, now the first part of the question is done. I mean, first thing I've done. Date. Next, supplier invoice number. Okay, supplier invoice number means say the invoice number which I gave here. Invoice number is Alpha 123. That is the invoice number. Alpha 123. The same number, whatever it is, I'm entering that. That is basically the bill number. Next, again it will show the date. Whatever the date you have entered there, the same date will be entered here. There's no need to do any changes. You can just press enter and go on. Next, party account name. Party account name is from whom we are purchasing. We are purchasing it from Alpha Traders. Yes, that's right, Alpha Traders. So I have to create here Alpha Traders. Now, to create the ledger for Alpha Traders, what are the 3 different types of 3 different methods I told you from the voucher screen? You can go to the ledger screen and create. If you have to create a ledger from the voucher screen or from the transaction screen, what are the 3 different methods that you use?
Alt key from same place.
Alt K or Alt C?
Alt C.
Alt C.
Okay, Alt C is first method, so I press Alt C. Yeah, you get the ledger creation screen. What about the other 2 methods? What is the next 2 methods to create a ledger?
Go to option.
Go to, fantastic. That is Alt G. You press and you go to create master and you go to ledger and you create it. That is what? That is second part. What about the third type? Third part, or third method to create a ledger?
Gateway of Tally.
That is no. That is if I have to go to gateway of Tally, I have to close this whole screen. I have to go to gateway of Tally. I don't want to close the screen. From here itself, I have to use. What is the next method?
Create option.
Create, fantastic. That create option is present on the right hand side. Okay, where you have the list of ledgers right there on the top, you have this create option. There you can go and create. Okay, so these are the three ways. So I go to this create itself. Now alpha traders. Okay, I just put it in short, alpha traders. Now tell me, alpha traders will come under which group? Where will I put him under?
Suppliers. Sundry creditors.
Sundry creditors, suppliers, fantastic. Okay, all the suppliers will be under sundry creditors. Basically, they are the sellers. All the sellers will be sundry creditors. All the buyers will be sundry debtors. So here we select sundry creditors. Next, below that you have this maintain balance bill by bill. Yes, this option is nothing but before this we discussed the 4 different types of this: new reference, against reference, on account, advance bill. Okay, so in order to use those 4 types of this option has to be activated. Maintain balance bill by bill. This option has to be activated as yes. So I make it as yes and activate that. Okay. Now below that we don't have anything to be done. I just leave it. Alpha traders, I can write the address. Let's say, for example, I just put this address as Banshankari section, say something like this. Okay, Bangalore, something like this. I just put the address of this person because this particular person supplier is from Bangalore. Okay, so this Bangalore, I have to enter the detail. Okay, if you want, you can skip this and go, no problem with that. But I'm just writing it here as a sample address. Okay, and since he's in Bangalore, the state has selected as Karnataka, the India country will be as India itself, and the pin code, some pin code is put here. Yes, pin code. Provide bank details. Bank details means to say the suppliers, this alpha traders bank details you have to enter, but I'm just keeping it, not required. PAN number, okay, not required for now. Registration type will be regular itself, and next you enter his GSTN number. So the GSTN number already is given over here. Okay, GSTN number is so and so 29. The state code followed with the PAN number, the default number, and the number of branch. So the same number I enter. Since it's just a dummy number, so I'm just using this dummy number 29 234 A1Z. So since it's a dummy number, when I press the enter key after typing it, I'll get it as verify the party GSTN. That means to say it is as not a valid GSTN number. Okay, so I enter that. Okay, there's no need to put set alter GST details, not required. Okay, so these are the things that you have to enter for this party, creating of this party ledger. Okay, that is alpha traders, the name, under the group, sundry creditor, maintain balance bill by bill will be as yes. Okay, next you enter his address details and put his GSTN number and you save it. Okay, this is how you create the party's ledger. That is for whom you are purchasing from. Now the next thing is, okay, we just save it and I come back to this purchase voucher screen. Okay, so alpha traders is done. So after we select the party or from whom we are purchasing this, when I press the enter key, I get 2 screens. One is the receipt details. Here you have the receipt number, how it is dispatched to, okay, destination, what is the destination, where it's going, what is the carrier name, okay, bill of landing, motor vehicle number, all these details will be entered here. But for now, what I'm doing is we are just skipping this. We don't need to require or enter these details. So what I do is I just save it. Just save the screen, Control A. Next, party detail. That is, alpha traders, what we created the ledger, the same thing will be displayed here. It's just for the verification part. Supplier name alpha traders, mailing name same alpha traders will be automatically address. Okay, and if you want to do any change, yes, you can do it on the screen itself, no problem with that. Okay, and this GST, all the details will be okay. So those two screens will be shown only when after you enter the alpha traders, the selector supplier. When you press enter, you get these screens. Just press Control A, Control A. That is to save. That's it. Okay. Now, the next thing that we have there, this says purchase ledger. Okay, purchase ledger means to say what exactly you are purchasing. Okay, basically it can be as purchase of goods, or you're purchasing services, purchase account, any kind of a ledger can be created. So now in the question, if you see, we are just purchasing LGTV. So LGTV is considered as a goods. Okay, so what we do is we create the ledger as purchase of goods account. Okay. We are going to create a ledger as purchase of goods. So I come to create ledger purchase of goods, no need of alias. Now group, that is under, what can you select for this group here as?
Purchase account.
Fantastic, purchase account.
Purchase.
Yes, purchase account, right? Okay, so as we select purchase account. Okay, applicable. Yeah, there's nothing else to do. Okay, and type of supply. Here we select as goods. That's all. There is no need to enter anything here. Name is purchase of goods. That is the ledger. Under is purchase account. Nothing else to be done. See that if GST is applicable. That's it. Set alter GST details. Here we don't put as no or yes. It will be as no itself. No need of putting it as yes. Suppose if you put as yes. See here also you have the same option to enter the tax rate. See what we did yesterday in last class, that is while we created the stock items. Okay, we saw in activating GST also we can enter the tax rate. While creating the stock group also we can enter the tax rate. While creating the stock item also we can enter the tax rate. And also while creating this ledger of purchase of goods also we can put the tax rate. Okay, but we don't put it here. No need to put the tax rate because we have already entered the tax rates for each and every stock item individually. There's no need to again and again repeat the tax rates here. Once if you have put it in stock item, fine, good, that's it. Not the way to do it. Okay, and you select type of supply as goods. Since we are purchasing goods, we are doing as goods here. If you are purchasing any kind of services, you can select the services over there. Fine. So purchase of goods, purchase account, GST applicable, type of supply. So that's it, nothing else. And I save it. Okay. This is how you do purchase of goods. Now, can you tell me what type of a transaction is this? That meaning to say, is it an intrastate transaction or interstate transaction?
Intrastate.
Intrastate. So since it's,
Interstate.
yeah. So what tax will be used for this transaction?
CGST and SGST.
Fantastic. CGST and SGST tax has to be added. Okay, why? Because it's an intrastate. He's in Bangalore. We are also in Bangalore. He's in Karnataka, and we are also in Karnataka. So that is why we use a intrastate transaction, CGST and SGST. So after we select as purchase of goods, or after we enter this purchase of goods, we get a small box here stating tax classification detail. Okay, so there's no need to type anything. You have to just select that thing. In order to get the list, okay, you get list of names. So what I do is I press the space bar key. Space bar is used to get the list of names. So I press the space bar, and you can see on the right hand side, you get various nature of transaction or different ways in which you transact. Okay, that's what it says, natures of transaction. So there's no need to worry that worry about all these names. There's only two things that you have to worry about. One, since you said it is an intrastate CGST and SGST transaction, we select the last option called as purchase taxable. Purchase taxable is used whenever you're doing an intrastate transaction. That is, whenever you're selecting the GST as CGST and SGST. At that point of time, what we do is we select as purchase taxable. If you're using IGST tax, okay, that is interstate transaction, we select as interstate purchase taxable. Okay, interstate purchase taxable is used for IGST. Purchase taxable is used for CGST and SGST. Okay, these are the only two things that we will be working on for now. Okay, there's nothing else to be worried about. Interstate purchase taxable for IGST if you're using IGST tax, and purchase taxable if you're using for CGST and SGST. So I select purchase taxable and I press enter. Any doubts in this? Any doubts till here? What do we did? Any doubts till this?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, name of the item. Now we have to select what is the item that we are purchasing. Okay, so if you see here, we are purchasing LG TV. LG TV is the item that we are going to purchase. So space bar, you see I get all the list of stock items that we just created last class. So I select LG TV. After we select LG TV, you see the go down which is coming. Last class also, when we are putting the opening balance, same way you got the go downs. Same procedure, whenever you select the stock item on this particular screen, okay, when you select the stock item over here, you press the enter key. Okay, you will get the go down. Okay, just a minute. Okay, fine. Okay, LG TV. Select the go down. Okay, so now which is a go down that we are storing it in?
Unit 1.
Fantastic. So I select unit 1. So unit 1 is a go down that we are entering it. So from this list on the right hand side, I select as unit 1. Next, here as you see, it is showing the quantity. It is asking for the quantity. So the quantity I am purchasing is 5 numbers.
Number.
Okay. So what I do is I don't enter as 5 NOS. I just enter 5 and press the enter key. NOS will automatically come. 5 numbers will automatically come. You just have to enter the number. Next, at what rate am I selling, purchasing it? Each quantity contains rupees 50,000 rupees. So I enter 15,15000. So 15,000 into 5, 75,000. Okay. So what I did was I selected the item, that is LG TV. Once I select the item and press enter, I get the go down and I enter the go down number as unit 1. The quantity, how much I'm purchasing, the rate at which of each quantity, and the amount of it. Okay, everything I enter it over here. Fine. Okay. So once we are done, I press the enter key, and there I am. Okay. So this is how you pass this. Okay. This is how this transaction is passed now. Okay. So we are passing this transaction, purchase transaction of first for 21. Purchasing of goods from Alpha Traders Bangalore. His GST number is so and so. Invoice number we have entered. Go down we have selected the quantity and the amount, as well as we have entered the stock item. Okay, these are the things. Yeah. Now, when do we calculate GST? On what? After what do we calculate? Do we calculate it before the total, or do we calculate it after the total of the bill amount?
After the total of bill amount.
Oh, no, after the total of the bill amount. Or if you calculate after the total of bill amount, then again you have to calculate the total. So basically, it is not calculated after the total of the bill amount. It is calculated after this total. You see here there are two totals. This is the total of each and every stock. Okay, now since we have purchased only one stock, LG TV, this is only the total amount. Okay, if you want to see the grand total of the bill amount, if you want to see, that is at the bottom over here. Okay, this is the total of the bill amount. So we don't calculate GST after 75,000. That is at the bottom what we have. We don't calculate it after this. We calculate GST before this billed amount here. Okay, we calculate GST before the total bill amount and after the total of all the stock item amounts. Okay, so right now this is my stock item and this is the only amount that I have for this particular one single stock. So the GST has to be calculated after this total 75,000. So what I have to do is I press the enter key. See, it shows you the total amount of the stock. This is not the total bill amount. This is the total amount of all the stocks that you have. Okay. Now what you do is, now again you have to press enter so that you come below this particular total amount here. So I press enter. I get it. Okay. Any doubts in this? So I guess there's no doubts. Okay, fine. So what I did was, okay, after this total, enter and enter. 2 times I press the enter. Okay. Now I press the space bar. Why I press the space bar is because I have to bring in the taxes. Okay, so as you said before, CGST and SGST are the taxes which has to be included. So I select CGST and you see automatically the amount is calculated. Fine. Okay, same way I select SGST. You can see the amount calculated. Understood? So GST should be calculated automatically. How it will calculate automatically means to say that this SGST and CGST which we just created the ledgers, this has to be perfect. This has to be correct. Okay, this is one part. Next, LGTV, that is when you're creating the stock item, this tax rate when you're giving here, these tax rates also has to be perfect. Okay. Next is your tax classification. That is this has to be as purchase tax. If all these 3 things are perfectly entered, okay, your GST will be automatically calculated. There's no need for you to do any manual calculation. All this will be taken place automatically. Okay. CGST and SGST. Now, if I try to do IGST, see it is not calculating IGST. Can anyone tell me why? Only CGST and SGST is calculated, but IGST is not calculated. Why?
Because because transactions.
Yeah. Okay. So because when we select it here, we select as purchase taxable. So that is why. If I had selected as interstate purchase taxable, see that time CSGST and CGST is not calculated, but the IGST is calculated. Got it? Okay. Right. So this has to be changed. So this has to be perfectly selected. So I select purchase taxable of CGST and SGST. See now it is CGST, SGST is calculated, but IGST is not. Okay. So this is very important. So this you have to be careful when you are calculating the taxes. Fine. Okay. Now, once you're done with the CGST and SGST, okay. So this is 75,000. What you have here is the total amount of the stock items. For each stock item, what is the total that you have it here? So below that total, you calculate the taxes, and finally the invoice total or the bill total you have it over here. Okay, this is the now. Okay, now when we activated the GST before the last class, when we activated F11 and thing, okay, there we had something called as threshold limit 50,000 and something. Do you remember that 50,000 something we did? Do you remember what was that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, that is over here. So if you see threshold limit 50,000, why was this 50,000? If I have to generate this e-way bill, the bill amount should be 50,000 or more than 50,000. Okay, So if you see the total amount, see it's showing as 88,500. So the total bill amount is 88,500. So that is why if you see on the left hand side, you have this provide e-way-bill details. Okay. So if this total bill amount is 50,000 or more than 50,000, this e-way-bill will be generated. Now let's take for example, I purchased only one item. Okay. Let's say I'm just reducing the item just for you to show. If I purchase only one single item, and the total amount is coming to 17,700. And now if you see on the left hand side, see that e-way bill option is not present. Okay, so the e-way bill will be only generated if this total value is 50,000. That is the limit that I had given. So if this total bill value is 50,000, only then the e-way bill will be generated. Okay, so let's bring this back to 5 numbers. Now I have 88,500. Okay, the total bill amount, and that is why you have the e-way bill details. Okay, that is how this e-way bill is generated. Now we'll see inside this e-way bill what you have. If you want, you can make this e-way bill yes or no. It's according to your preference. But now I make it as yes so that to explain what it is. So I make it as yes. So this is the details that it contains. You see a e-way bill details, supply invoice number. The invoice number what we put, that number will be there. Subtype is supply. Okay, whatever the supply you are doing. Okay. Next the date or type of document is a tax invoice. Okay, the details of consignor details. Consignor details means from whom I'm getting this items from whom I'm getting this LGTV from. His details are the consignor details. Okay, his details will be entered over here. Whatever we entered in his ledger, right? Those things will be entered over here. And next below you have your transporter's detail. Who's transporting? How is transporting? By air, rail, road, ship. Okay, his name, vehicle number, document. Okay, distance of transportation. Okay, distance in kilometer, ID, vehicle type. Okay, all these details will be present in this e-way bill. Okay, that's what is this e-way bill does. Okay, every detail, the dispatch details, consign details, all the transportation details, everything will be present in this e-way bill. Okay, fine. We'll proceed. Okay. Now, so we got this e-way bill thing. Now, can you tell me what type of transactions? Is it a credit transaction, cash transaction, or a bank transaction?
Credit, sir.
Okay.
Credit transaction.
How do you say it is a credit transaction? Why do you say it is a credit transaction?
Because the payment is made on the next day.
Fantastic. The payment is made on the next day. Okay. So we are purchasing it on 1st April, but the payment is made on the next day. That is on the 2nd of April. Okay. So since it's a credit transaction, okay, that is, as you said, it's a credit transaction. Right answer. So after we come to this total amount, and when you press the enter key, you get the 4 different types of bills here, that which we discussed. So since it's a credit transaction, what type of bill will we select here?
New reference.
New
bill.
reference.
Yes, that's right, new reference bill. So we select new reference bill here. Okay, and the name you can change it. It's you can change it manually, no problem. But default it will take the invoice number. The invoice number I had entered here, alpha 123, the same invoice number it is taken. So I don't need to change it. I will not change. Okay. Next, due date of credit dates. Okay, this means that once we do the credit purchase from the supplier, okay, he will give a time period. That is, let's say he'll give, let's say within 10 days you have to make a payment, or within 30 days, or within 1 month you have to make a payment to me. That's what he says. Okay, the time period will be entered over here. Okay, let's say he's giving us 5 days time period to make a payment. Okay, just an example, he's giving 5 days, so I just put as 5 and enter. Okay, so within 5 days I have to make a payment. So this transaction is done on 1st April 20. Okay, 21, sorry, 1st April 21. Okay, now we have, if you see here, after I enter the 5 days, you see down it shows 6th April 21. That is, by 6th April, I have to make a payment to this person. Okay, understood? Okay, so I enter, I come, close this transaction. Okay, that's how you select the new reference. But that's what you do. First, you select as new reference. You can change this, or let's say I put as put purchase. I put it in short PUR alpha, PUR space alpha. This is all on I'm putting here just for a reference. That is purchase from alpha something. You can change it, anything you can put. Due date or credit days, and he's giving us 5 days. So since I'm doing the transaction of 1st April, so within 6th April, I have to make a payment of rupees 88,500. Okay. Now, what will be the narration? What do you think can we put the narration as?
Being goods purchased from alpha traders.
Okay. So being goods purchased from alpha traders on credit. Since it's a credit transaction, I put as on credit. Being goods purchased from alpha traders on credit. Okay. And I save this transaction. So do you have any doubts in this? Any doubts in this particular transaction? So since so long, what we did was only the first part of the transaction. Only the one, if we see here, the one which I have highlighted is only the first part of the transaction, which you have already entered and which you have typed. Now, to do the second part of the transaction, what it says, payment made on the next day by cash. The next day we are making a payment to them. Okay, so what do you think we have to, or which voucher do you think we have to enter this in?
Payment voucher.
Fantastic. So this second part of the transaction, we enter it in the payment voucher. So I press F5. So, and I change the date, 2nd April 21. And I have it here. Okay. Now, can anyone tell me what will be on the debit and on the credit side? What is going to be the entry? How am I going to pass the entry here? Come on.
Cash
What's
account
going to
debit. Alpha credit alpha traders.
cash account debit, credit alpha traders? Okay, fine. But there's a small difference. Actually, on the debit side, you enter all expenses and to whom you're making a payment for. That is entered in debit side. Credit side is how you're making the payment, cash or bank. Okay, what you said was right, but it has to be the opposite. Okay, debit will be as alpha traders, credit is cash. Okay, why cash? Because I'm paying the amount by cash itself for the transaction. Okay, so I select cash. So here we select as alpha traders. Okay, and the amount. How much is the amount? It shows here as 88,500. Okay, so current balance. How we know 88,500? That is the purchase amount that we did. Okay, if you want to confirm it, let's say we go to the day book. Okay, that is from here itself. We go to the day book. That is we go to. Okay, we go to day book. What is day book? Huh? Why am I going to day book?
To see all voucher transaction.
Fantastic. So I want to go see back my purchase voucher transaction. So from here itself, I'm going to day book. That is, I go to this option, go to. Here only I have the day book. Okay, I want to bring the transactions, Alt F2. So I have here purchase transaction. So if you see the total amount, it says here 88,500. Okay, so that was the amount that was there. Okay, So this is the amount that I have to pay to this person, alpha traders. So I press escape, escape, again escape. I come back to the same payment voucher screen. Okay, so that is the same 88,500 that is being displayed over here. Okay, enter. So I write the same amount there, 88,500. Now when I press the enter key, what do I select over here now? What type of bill will we select?
Against reference bill.
Fantastic. Against reference. So against reference bill is used whenever you're making a payment for the new reference bill. That is whenever you're clearing the bill for the credit transaction. That time we use against reference bill. So I select against reference bill. Okay, and you can see that the bill name what I had changed. It was actually the invoice number which was entered, but I had changed to purchase PUR alpha. Okay, that is the bill that is which was done in new reference bill. So I select it. I just keep pressing enter and go on. And now here on the credit side, I put as cash. And the narration being payment made for the credit purchases. So this is how you pass the transaction. So now my entry is fully complete. Any doubts in this? No doubts. So this is how we pass this transaction. So I save it. Okay. Now we'll go to the gateway of tally screen. Why I'm coming to the gateway of tally screen? Now I have to check. Now that I have purchased these stocks, right? This LGTV I have purchased. Now I have to see whether I have that particular stock in my company. So what I do is go to stock summary. Okay. So here you have books and TVs. So I have to see in detail what is that I have. So I press Alt F1 or Alt F5. So Alt F1 or Alt F5 is used to show the transactions or the entries in detailed or condensed manner. Alt F1 or Alt F5. Okay, so it's showing me here. So classmate notebook yesterday we did it. There is opening balance. Now today we purchased this LG TV. See, it shows 5 numbers, 15,000. Okay, and I want to see in which go down it is present. So F5. There you go. So LG TV unit 1, and these are the numbers. So this now I have this LG TV also as stock in my company. Okay. So this is how you pass this transaction and check for all the stocks that you have. I guess you have no doubts now. You have any doubts, anything you can ask, can confirm. Oh, Now we'll do a different type of problem. Same the purchase voucher transaction itself, but a different type of a question. I mean, different way. Okay, now let's see. We'll take a question now. Okay, now on. Let's take as 1st May 2021. Okay, we are purchasing goods from beta traders. Okay, and this beta traders is in Goa. Beta traders Goa. This GST number is 30. Okay, this is the GST number. Okay, next invoice number. Invoice number is, let's say I put as some number as a bill number. Okay, and the go down is unit 2. Okay, now what are we purchasing from this place? Okay, so let's take where else? Is laptops. This laptops. Let's take 6 numbers at rupees. We'll take it as 45,000. Next, Dell computers. Okay, and 8 numbers at rupees 50,000. Next, on 31st May 2021, the payment made by HDFC Bank. HDFC Bank. Okay, and check number is so and so. Okay, fine. Now this is the question. Okay, so on 1st May 2021, we are purchasing goods from beta traders, who's from Goa. This GST number is 30 ASD and so and so. Invoice number of this transaction is 5260, and the go down is unit 2. That is whatever I'm purchasing, I'm putting it in the go down unit 2. Okay. Now what are the items that I'm purchasing? Acer laptops, 6 numbers at 45,000. Dell computers, 8 numbers at rupees 50,000. So for what are the earned purchase on 1st May? And 31st May, I am making the payment by HDFC Bank using the check. That is, the check number is so and so. Okay, now this is my transaction. So on the same procedure, I will pass a transaction. Now the first thing what we have to do is we have to pass a transaction this particular date. Okay, so we go to purchase voucher. First May 21. Next, invoice number. So the invoice number I here is 5263. Okay, date is the same date. There's no need to do any changes. Next, what we do here, party account name. What we do in this party account name? Who's the party
Beta
from
traders.
Yes. See, select beta traders. We have to enter it as beta traders then. So I created beta traders. So he's also has sundry creditor. Now, Okay, the state. Should I change the state over here? Should I change the state for this person here? Yes, we have to change the state. That is Goa. This beta trader is from Goa. So I have to select the state here as Goa. Okay, there's no need of pin code. And I have to enter the GSTN number for him. Okay, so the GSTN number, okay, it starts with the 30, that is for Goa. So that GSTN number I have to enter 30 ASDFG. 3, 23, 4, A, 1, 7. Okay, this GSTN number. So same as usual, like the previous problem itself, how we did the same way, we create the ledger for this person, sundry creditors, yes, and the state, we have to be careful here. We have to select the state from where we are purchasing from where this person is from, and his GSTN number has to be entered. Why I put 30 was the 30 is the state code for the Goa. Okay, let's say we have to confirm. See, Goa state code is 30. So that is why I started the GSTN number with 30 itself. Okay, now I save this. After we enter this beta traders, after we create this beta traders here, when I press the enter key, I get these two screens. So what do we do here? What do you do on the screens here? Answer. Everyone's sleeping. Everyone's kept your mouth. I put a what? Come on.
It is just a receipt details, sir. We can enter and
We can enter the dispatch details or destination or the career names and the details over here, but it is not required. So what we do is we just have to save it. Okay, Control A. Again, the ledger what we created for beta traders, you get this screen. It is just for the confirmation. You just have to save it. Fine. Next, purchase ledger. So already I have the ledger here as purchase of goods. There is no need for me to create again. Okay, I can use the same ledger itself, purchase of goods itself. Select. Now tell me, what do I select for the tax classification detail?
Interstate
interstate purchase.
Yes, interstate purchase taxable. That is the thing that you have to select over here. Okay, why interstate purchase taxable? Because it is IGST tax is being used. Okay, select. Now let's select the items here now. So first item what we are selecting, what we are purchasing. Okay, now Acer laptops. Acer laptops is the item that we are purchasing first. So I select here Acer laptops. Now go down that we are select. Go down is unit 2.
Unit 2.
Yes, unit 2. Okay. GST number also we have entered and purchase. So yeah, so the go down is unit 2. Quantity. Quantity is 6 numbers. So I put 6 here. Rate is 45,000 each. So 6 into 45,000, 2,70,000. Okay. Now next. Next we have is Dell computers. Dell computers also we are purchasing from this person. But if you see here in our tally, okay, in our tally screen, okay, if you see on the right hand side, okay, we have only Acer laptops, Camlin notebooks, Classmate books, and LG TV itself. We don't have Dell computers. Okay, so for Dell computers, what we have to do now? We have to create it. Okay, either you press Alt C and create, or you go to this heading create and do it, or you can go to option and create it. Okay, so I create Dell computers. Okay, take you to the stock item creation screen itself. So I'm putting as Dell computers. Under will be as desktop, since it's a computer, it's a desktop. Category is computers. Okay, units will be as numbers. Okay, same way like yesterday how we create the stock item, same procedure I'm doing. Okay, since I don't have the computers, I have to create it. GST applicable, yes. Script alter GST details as yes. And then, okay, so after there are schools, I'm just putting some random number for now. On value, taxable, and it is the same 18% itself. Okay, so I have created, save it, and I save it. So I get the Dell computers over there. So again, this Dell computers will be stored in same code of unit 2 itself. Okay, the quantity is 8 numbers at 50,000. 50,000, and there you have 4 lakh. Okay, and okay. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in whatever I was doing here? Okay. It's the same procedure what we did. Okay, but only thing was Dell computer I didn't have, so I had to create. So like yesterday, how we created the stock item, in the same procedure, I created the Dell computers by pressing Alt C or going to the create option, or also you can go to this go to option and you can create it. Okay. Now, so only 2 items I am purchasing. So 2 items I have entered over here. So this you have the total amount of each and every stock. Okay, that is 6,70,000. So here you have the total of all the stocks that you purchase, the 2 stocks that you purchase, Acer and Dell computers, and this is the total of all the final total that you have. So as I said before in the previous sum, okay, what you have to do is once you're done with the last stock item and the amount, you have to press the enter key 2 times. So I press enter and enter. Why we press enter 2 times? So that this cursor comes below the total of these items, value of the total of the value of the items. Okay, so this I put here. Now what I do now is, what do I do here? What is the tax that I have to add?
IGST.
Yes, that's right, IGST. See, it's calculated. Okay, now enter. So e-way bill it shows. So I just save it. I make it as yes and I just save it. And here what do you select? What has to be selected here? Come on.
New reference bill.
Yes, new reference bill, and you have the bill invoice number. Okay. Yeah. So you have the invoice number. Okay. And he gives us the days grace period as 30 days. So let's say, or let's say I put as 31 days. Okay. So by June 1st, we have to make a payment. Okay. Or let's say it gives a days as 30 days he gives. So by 31st May, we have to make a payment to him. Okay, why 31st May? So that's what it says here on the second part of the question. By 31st May, we are making a payment by HDFC bank account. So that's why we put it as 30 days. So it shows as 31st May here. And this is the amount that we have to make a payment for. Okay. And narration being goods purchased on credit. Okay. Right. Any doubts in this? Everyone? Any doubts? Do you have any doubts? You can ask.
No, sir.
Okay. So yeah. So once we do this, I save it. Now we do the payment voucher. payment voucher, we are doing it on 31st of May 21. So we have to make a payment to beta traders, and the amount you see here 7,90,600. Then I enter, and what do we select here?
Against
Against
reference.
bill.
Yes, fantastic. Against reference, select the bill, and we are paying it by HDFC bank account. So I select
HDFC Bank.
Yes, that's right, HDFC bank. And here in this HDFC bank account, in the question what I gave, I put the check number. So where do we enter the check number of this transaction? Where, in which part of the screen do we enter it? Where is the check number entered?
Sir, bank details.
Bank details. Okay. Actually, no. The check number will be entered over here on the screen. What you have here. Okay, that is after you enter the HDFC bank account. Okay, and when you press enter key. Okay, you have here HDFC bank transaction type check. Okay, so we are paying it by check. So I select check here. Okay, and the check number always. Okay, always when you're making any payment by using check. Okay, and if you want to enter the check number, that will be entered in this INSTNO. INSTNO means to say instrument number. In other words, check number. Okay, INSTNO means to say instrument number or check number, because check is considered as a bank instrument. Okay, so that check number will be entered over here. So the check number is, okay, I have written here 456,123 and 258. Okay, that will be the check number that I entered. Got it? So always let it be a normal GST transaction or any transaction, any sort of payments you're making through check. Okay, and if you want to enter the check number, okay, so this is how you enter it. And after you enter the bank name and the amount, you get this screen, which is called as bank allocation screen. Okay, here on this particular screen, you have to see that if it is a check, and you select
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll just continue as a small technical issue. Fine. Okay. Yeah. So whenever you're making a payment using your bank, this is how you do it. Okay. So select the bank, you enter the check number. Okay. Over here, and you close the transaction. So this is how you pass this transaction and you close it. Okay. Does anyone have any doubts with this? Any doubts in these two different types of transaction that we did? First, we did the CGST and SGST transaction, and next we did the IGST transaction. So do you have any doubts in these transactions? Anyone? Any doubts?
No, sir.
No. Okay, fine. All right. So fine. Okay, so we'll stop the session now. Okay, so tomorrow we'll start with the purchase return transaction with the GST. Okay, how we purchase it with that GST and how we return back the goods. Okay, so in tomorrow's session we will continue. Okay, so if you have any doubts, if you're practicing, if you have any doubts, okay, you can ask me in the next class. Okay, fine. So thank you all and have a good day.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome to all. Welcome.